1.
You're listening to the Fantasy Fling Podcast. Take a break from the season-long commitment and join us as we give you the newest and hottest DFS deals, preview the DFS main slate, and take the dreadful walk of shame. Here are your hosts, Brandon and Eric.
Welcome back to your DraftKings Milli Maker special. It's making a Milli. Our Week 14 Milli Maker special. Eric and Paul are joining me. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. Friday.
Yeah. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday with Fantasy Fling. Well, guys, we're looking at Week 14. How'd you do in Week 13?
I did all right. I won 75 cents in the tournament.
You hit the cash line again with your chalky cash Milli Maker
lineup.
Man,
I didn't cash in the Milli Maker. I didn't make anything, unfortunately. I had 100.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I thought I had 155.7 points. And kind of funny story what Brandon's referring to is that when I built this lineup, when we were doing this last week, it said it's about 109% projection total on Friday. And then when I played it on Sunday, I didn't make any changes to it, which I should have. It ended up being like 170% owned. So it was like more of a cash lineup than it was a GPP play. But my bad on that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's hard. It happens. Yeah, it's kind of something you got to look at Sunday morning, regardless, unless it's just like crazy, silly lineup.
Yeah, I didn't. This wasn't my week, man. I won like 75 cents in a tournament. I think it wasn't a good week for me. It's okay though. That happens.
Good week either.
For sure. Well, it's okay, man. We're looking at, of course, the Milli Maker on DraftKings, and as we look forward for the preview, we're going to look back Week 13, trying to spot some trends. So this wasn't like super, I guess, obvious until like Sunday, but yeah, plugging Gardner Minshew in. I certainly had him, as we talked about on our last podcast, our DFS main slate one. I had him in some tournaments stacked with Devonta Smith, but really the stack to have him with was Goddard. And it took down the Milli Maker this past week. So there was quite a few stacks. Looking back at it, we had a Minshew to Goddard stack, which totaled 50 points. We had a Justin Jefferson and Williams stack, which totaled 47 points. And then we had a Sony Michel with his defense, the Rams stack, which totaled 35 points, just about. So quite a few stacks, just 3 2-player stacks for a total of 6 players, and then, just a few one-offs. But as far as overall roster percentage, it's not very surprising that this was a little higher than it had been in prior weeks because, there was going to be some chalky running back value, which is what we saw here. So Minshew, it's kind of surprising, I guess, is, it's kind of a last-minute start, and he still was 11% owned in this tournament. And this isn't like a guy who is highly regarded. He comes in, he plays hot, and then he doesn't play hot. He's very Jekyll and Hyde. But yeah, he was 11% owned. Sony Michel, 20% owned. One of those chalky backs. And then Williams, 22% owned. And then from there, it was pay-up option at wide receiver. We had Deontay Johnson, who crushed it. He was just under 10% owned. Justin Jefferson was a little over 10%, but not much, 14% owned. Godwin was definitely chalk too, with 17% owned. And then where this guy really crushed it in his lineup, I don't want to assume his gender. It could be a female. Kaylan 304.
Yeah, man.
He or she.
This one's 2022, and here you are with this nonsense.
He or she was very smart, and here I am saying ownership. I'm gonna get canceled. This show is so canceled for sure. Well, we're going straight to jail. We're kicked off YouTube.
Right to jail. Right away.
Right to jail. Yeah, Kittle and Goddard were each 7% or less owned. So yeah, Kittle was 7% and Goddard was 6%, and then the Rams defense, special teams, 5%. So yeah, this is a total of 116%, which is higher than we've seen, but not crazy high. We've certainly seen a lot higher than that. Really, as far as leverage goes, Kittle 7.2%. Goddard is 6.58%. And then Deontay Johnson at 9.9%. And Minshew at 11%. So these were really the leverage plays. Minshew specifically just on his salary. He's only $4,000. So he crushed his salary. And then, when we do...
Mustache.
Yes. When we do look at pricing, so this was pay down at quarterback and running back and pay up at wide receiver. We had Justin Jefferson, 8,200, Deontay Johnson, 6,800, Chris Godwin at 6,600. They were 4.7x, 4.9x, and 5.03x respectively. And then really for tight ends, you plug 2 tight ends in, and they weren't really cheap. Kittle, he was 5,900, but we say it every week. You need at least one guy to produce 6x in the Milli Maker. Kittle was 7.2x. And then Goddard was 7x. So highly volatile position, crazy variance at tight end. He plugged in 2 of them, Kittle and Goddard, and he got 7x on both of them. And I told Eric on the last podcast, right? Yeah, him or her. I told Eric on the last podcast, my decision to play Gronk over Goddard costs me like $100,000 last week, like for sure. I don't know what else to say. I'm still bitter about it.
That's tough, man. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's DFS, baby. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Michelle, Minshew, Rams, they were all under 4K and 5. Looking at 5x, 4.69x, 2x on those guys. So that's going to do it for the week 13 Milli Maker winning lineup on DraftKings. Let's look ahead to week 14, boys. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So we wrote I know we hit the Vegas
I'll let you do those lines. Yeah.
All right, we'll do the lines as well. Kind of went over them. Obviously, I updated them to the most recent one. So we have the highest point total this week is 53.5. That's Tampa, Buffalo. No surprise. The 2 stud quarterbacks. You got a Tampa 3.5 point favorite with Tampa with a 28-point team total projection. And then you have 49-point spread with San Francisco and Cincinnati, with Cincinnati being favored with a 24-point team total. You have Kansas City and the Raiders with a 9.5 point favorite for the Chiefs. Sad to see that. The 28-point projected team total for the Chiefs. And you also have the same spread of Dallas and Washington football team, 48, with Dallas projected their favorite to win and their 26-point team total. And then the one that snuck on the list at the very end here was Jacksonville and Tennessee. I'm not really sure why, maybe because of all the injuries and some of the COVID and injuries and whatnot in the other games. Yeah. But 43.5 point over-under projected spread. Tennessee projected for 26 points. So we have 53.5, 49, 48, 48, and 43.5. So it's kind of a low week, I guess. It's not bad. I guess it's kind of average. It's the 5th game is 43 points, so could be better, could be worse.
All right. Well, all that said, Eric, let's have you tell us the stack you're going to use first, and then I'm going to roll, and then Paul's going to roll because that's how it went last week. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, sorry, Paul.
Eric's cash lineup beat my GPP lineup, so surprise.
My lineup. Cheers to that.
Sorry, let me send it to you, Paul. Just give me 2 seconds, and then I'll start with mine. So as I was going through, I decided not to take the highest one. I decided not to go with Tampa Buffalo because I have a feeling that it's going to be, even though both stud quarterbacks will probably both do okay fantasy wise, but I'm not sure that the game. I just don't feel like it's going to be a great team, a great total score. Damn it, where are we at? There we go. Here you go, Paul. All right, so I decided to go with the Chiefs and Raiders. Again, it might be a surprise not going with the highest one, but I just feel like that one could be the Raiders. They had a couple things that happened last game where they could have kept up. The Chiefs ended up running away with it, but D-Jax made a stupid decision and Carr made a couple of bad choices. That game could have been like 60 points. But I feel like it could be the Chiefs. I feel like are going to win still, but I feel like it might be a better game this time around. I know Carr threw for like 375 or whatever. It just was lacking the touchdowns, but the yardage was there. The touchdowns didn't come, so we'll see what happens this time around. But that's the 48-point spread on that one. That's where I'm going with. And So I guess next would be Brandon. You took second, or was that Paul?
Oh,
Sorry.
I took second. So 3. No, you already got
That's
that
mine.
one.
Yep.
2.
Niners and Bengals.
Cincinnati. I don't like that one, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
I know what side
know.
of that I'm sacking, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
I got 3.
That's mine.
You got to roll again.
All right. 3 again. Got 1.
All right, Tampa, Buffalo.
You got the best one, unless you want to trade.
No, I'll go with what I got.
I don't know, man. I think the Raiders Chiefs one's the best one. We'll see. That's why I chose it. So I went through and I'll start with my lineup. If you guys want to start building yours,
Yes, sir.
I'll slowly go through it. My projection, I think, as I was building this, my projected total ownership is like 70%. Now I expect that to go up a little bit, but it's pretty low
That's
right
fine.
now. But as we've learned from your awesome research there, Brandon, is sometimes you necessarily don't have to go. You can't go too low. I think some guy won with like 60% or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to go to. I guess there is a point where diminishing returns.
Damn,
but,
I like this one. Okay.
all right, so I chose, not surprisingly, I chose the Chiefs side to stack. I chose Mahomes and Tyreek Hill because last time they both went off. I was trying to put Kelsey in there too. I just couldn't make it fit in the lineup. It was just couldn't make
Very
it do
difficult.
it. It was, man. I was trying to get all three
They're
of them,
not
and I just
cheap.
couldn't do it. I have Holmes and Tyreek Hill, and the bring back is Desean Jackson. He that last game he had like a 70-yard touchdown or whatever. It was a big play where I think he forgot where he was. All he had to do was turn around and run. It would have been like a 70-yard touchdown. That might have changed the whole game. But he's shown that he can have. He's a boom or bust player. That's what he is. He's perfect for tournaments. So my running backs are Chuba Hubbard. From what I looked, he's less than 1% owned. I feel like that has to change, right? Against Atlanta. I mean, that's a great matchup. But it was like less than 1% owned from what I saw. So I have Chuba Hubbard. And with the news today, so Swift is out. Jamal Williams is out. You have Godwin. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Igwebuike. I don't know how to say his last name. I apologize. But it's Igwebuike. I mean, Jamar Jefferson was sick on Thursday. I'm not sure if he made it back to practice or not today, but rolling the dice with him. He looked really good when he got his chance last week. So I have Hubbard and I'll just call him Godwin, even though it's not Chris Godwin. Just keep that in mind. And I have Tyreek Hill, Desean Jackson, and T. Higgins because he's seemed to really come on lately. And then for my tight end, I'm going to a guy who got negative points last week, going back to Gerald Everett. He gets a lot of targets. He's always on the field. I was looking at his last lines. He has targets of 8, 4, 9, and 6 in his last 4 games. So Wilson looks for him. In my flex, I have F1, Terry McLaurin. He's also very boomer bust. He can, put up a bad game like last week, or he can put up 30. And then I chose, just to make it fit for the money I had left as I was going back and forth, I went for the Panthers defense at 2,800 against Atlanta.
Panthers okay. I think I have a little bit of that.
So I can go back over real quick. I got Mahomes,
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, and Godwin Tyreek Hill, Desean Jackson, and T. Higgins. Gerald Everett, Terry McLaurin in the flex, and the Panthers. It was projected to score 150 points, and it's about 60% or 70% ownership as of now.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I used DFS Army to kind of generate, and then I took what they generated and I kind of plucked out something I didn't like and things that I did, and I kind of did it from there. So it gave me a nice foundation of what I was looking for, which is what the awesome thing about DFS Army. And then from what they gave me that foundation, I kind of filled it in how I wanted to. So they got me about 70% of the way there.
I do a lot of that too, for sure. Damn, I'm struggling right now with mine. So I have, and the main reason is because I have I did obviously, I go to the domination station. I use the optimizer at DFS Army, like you do, Eric. And so, I'm going to run a bunch of different stacks, and then sometimes it's just really hard to decide between the stacks that you get. So especially on a Friday, I'll probably have more clarity on a Sunday morning, but This is a lineup I think I'm going with. This could change, but of course I'm gonna keep that Burrow stacks. Keep the Burrow stack that I have because I decided there's just too much uncertainty, and I'm not trying to do a Jimmy G stack, especially if Debo's out. Like it's just a tough one. So here's what I'm going with right now. I got Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, bringing it back with Deebo Samuel.
Debo. All right.
I like the potential there. I like the ceiling. I also got Barkley.
Sorry, Deebo Samuel?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he plays.
Oh, okay.
He's questionable. He's questionable, but
okay,
if he plays, for sure.
I was like, I'm not playing Jimmy GQ because Debo's out, and then you're like, Debo. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't really like Jimmy G like altogether at all as a stack.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I like him as a bring back because I feel like Burrow can get there for sure, and he can run some in, he can hit Jamar Chase, and then if that game is highly projected, if it goes that way, Debo could bring it back. So also Barkley, I like Barkley this week because Tony's out, they don't have many options, and he's due. It's a great matchup. If he plays and he gets a big workload, which he got a lot of targets last week, didn't do a lot with him, but it's a much better matchup this week. So he has a potential to go off. And then Javonte Williams. So if no Melvin Gordon, this is a play for me for sure, although it might end up being like real chalky and, might have to go elsewhere, which I do have a couple other lineups. But so him at 5,900, looking at 18% ownership right now. And then Josh Palmer coming in. We talked about this on the last podcast, Eric. Top fantasy points per dollar play. Right now, 4X. He is projected 12 points. He's 3,000. So yeah, that would be my wide receivers: Josh Palmer, Jamar Chase, and Deebo Samuel. Josh Palmer would be actually that game would be pretty heavily stacked with the Chargers side. So Josh Palmer, Jared Cook, and Austin Eckler. So Eckler in the flex. That might be something to evaluate. Will that game be high enough scoring to carry 3 players? I don't know. The Browns would be my defense at 2,700. So the other lineup that I was looking at, let's see just how different this one is. So this would be Joe Burrow, Javonte Williams, Gibson, Beasley, Jamar Chase, Debo, Cook, and Barkley. I might like that better just because it doesn't have so many Chargers in it. But again, that lineup is highly correlated. So who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Oh, man, I like it. I thinking about that, I might have to go with Jared Cook instead of Gerald Everett, or Jared Cook instead of Gerald Everett. We talked about that on that last podcast, and it seems like the targets funnel to the tight ends when the receivers are out. We've seen that before, I think, with the Chargers. But that also would allow me to put in a Seahawks defense instead of Panthers. So I'm not sure. We'll see what I decide to do. Like that. Banking on the Chargers.
Sure. Paul, you have the lineup for us.
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, this is. I've had it work. Give me a second here.
Yeah, if you need, we could go with some studs and stuff that we like into that, or like stacks and stuff. If you need a few minutes.
Yeah, this is another one of those things. I think I had it.
All right, so me and Eric are gonna go with our stacks, studs, and then sleepers, and then we'll let you give us your lineup, Paul, just for time sake. Eric, you got some stacks you like this week?
I do, man. The one I'm playing, of course, I like that one because I'll be playing it. But I do like the Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey. If you fit all 3 of them in, good on you. But some combination of that. I'm really liking the running back defense. So I like Javonte Williams with the Denver D and Alvin Kamara with the Saints D. I like that stack as well. Nice. And then I also am looking at I like Burrow with T. Higgins or Chase this week as well. I think one of the two is going to go off. And I also like Dak and Lamb as well. CeeDee Lamb is so talented. It's like Justin Jefferson. It's hard not to play him because he's so good.
And it's coming in pretty low owned right now. Dak to Lamb Lamb is only like 8% owned.
That's surprising.
And kind of another stack, what we were looking at the main game, Buffalo and Tampa Bay, is Josh Allen to Diggs. Diggs is like 7% owned.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have anybody that can cover Diggs on the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have a huge game.
Yeah. Well, maybe you go, if you're paying down at running back, maybe you could do like an Evans, Brady Evans and bring it back with Diggs. That's actually, for a game being is as high projected as it is, a lot of people seem to be staying away from it. So, I mean, you got to follow the ownership, and that might be a game to target for sure. Especially if you could find some value and you could afford to pay up for these wide receivers at low ownership.
Yep.
I like
100%.
it. And then, obviously, with Brady, with the usual suspects, we mentioned Brady, Evans, Godwin, Gronk. So,
and TD Lenny. Tutty Lenny.
Yeah.
All right. I'm good to go.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm doing the Buffalo Buffalo Tampa Bay stack. So out of that stack, I went with Godwin, Knox, and Fournette. Not going with a QB on that game. Actually going kind of cheap with a QB on that game with Taysom Hill going against the Jets. The man might be straight trash, but he runs.
Okay.
He does run.
Are you playing him naked?
What's up?
Are you playing him naked?
What?
So I'm teaching you DFS terminology
Yeah.
on this podcast.
No, I'm
so
not.
naked means you're not
stacking
stacking him. Okay.
On this game, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Then Antonio Gibson, Javonte Williams, Marquise Brown, and please do something, Desean Jackson. Besides fuck up, be like a good game out of you, and then the Carolina D against Atlanta.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Nice, man. Very nice. I like the guy I had D Jackson there too. I'm hoping for the same thing.
Yeah,
they're likely to be playing
3,900. You're just kind of like, all right, man, just like.
No, he has a high ceiling, but also a low floor. So
yeah,
perfect player.
Just like grab like get out there, get past the secondary, grab like 2 long balls, maybe haul one of them in, and if we can get like 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, get that Randy Moss stat line: 3 catches, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Sorry for the dog. That's my crazy dog. Sorry, everybody.
It's all good. Well, let's go to studs. I'll start it off.
All right.
Some of the backs that I like is, as we talked about, I really like Eckler. I just feel like with all the wide receivers out, that I just can't see a scenario where he's not getting 10 plus targets and getting a lot of carries. So even being chalk, I like him this week. Fournette's projected to be chalk. But if you fade that game almost entirely, kind of how you did it a couple weeks ago with versus Indy, and you just play Fournette, and then you can target maybe some stacks in some other games that aren't as heavily played. That is a way you can go about it. Kamara, I guess he's more of a sleeper this week, but again, if you're not playing Taysom Hill, I could see Kamara just running wild over the Jets. So got to have some of him as far as the backs that I'm looking at. Wide receivers, we talked about it, of course. Tyreek Hill, he's in play. Debo, if he plays, for sure. Hunter Renfrow, no Waller this week. He's definitely a lock for me. And then you look at that Tampa Bay and Buffalo game. So whether you stack the game or not, just having some of these guys as like one-offs or like secondary stacks like Godwin, Evans, Diggs. And I don't know if y'all saw, but Emmanuel Sanders missed practice today. They said it was for personal reasons. Demaryius Thomas passed yesterday. Very sad day, like for just sports in general. But I got to meet DT a couple times. I'm a bartender, and he would come into the Lone Tree location that I worked at in Bowl. He was a regular there, and he was a really cool dude. He was just like the coolest, kindest person you've ever met. He would always ask you how your day was. He was just like super chill. Like you had a hard time believing he was like a millionaire athlete. So rest in peace to DT. He's certainly gone, and I'm sure Emmanuel Sanders, those two were teammates for a while, so he's probably having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
But we have seen this before, where players they play and they're dealing with a lot of emotion, and you never know what's going to happen. Brett Favre lost his dad, and he threw like 5 touchdowns like the next day. Mm-hmm. So I'm playing Emmanuel Sanders. I just believe that if he is going to be playing on Sunday, that he's going to go out there and try to dedicate a game to DT. And I hope he does, and I hope he crushes it.
I'm
DT's
not
honor.
quoting this correctly, but I saw Peyton Manning made a statement about DT today. He said that DT was a better person, like a person, than he was a football player, and he's a Hall of Fame football player. So it really does say a lot.
Yeah,
it sucks.
No doubt.
The guy's 5 years younger than me, and
I know.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, he's pretty much so like the last person you expect to die from like medical issues. Yeah. So life is short, man. Enjoy it.
Crazy. Man.
Yeah. But so Manuel Sanders, Beasley, Diggs, like there's a lot of different angles in that game. Even if it's not your main stack, just playing some of these guys for sure.
Yeah, man, I like it. I'm there with you as well. I have a lot of the, like we say a lot of times when we talk about the stacks up front and then the studs, they kind of correlate. But I also have Eckler in there. I feel like Nixon is being overlooked as well a little bit. I mean, he had kind of I guess he's 12% owned, so he's not being overlooked per se, but 11% owned. But he had kind of a bad week last week, and so people might be off him this week. And I mean, he's been in quite a few of the Milli Maker winners, so keep an eye on Mixon as well as a stud. Mm-hmm. Gibson's been playing a lot better than he has lately.
It's good to
as
see.
Well. And then of course, like a couple that you mentioned, Tyreek Hill and Debo and Diggs, like those guys a lot. Also, Jared Cook, I feel like he's going to have a great game this week with all those Chargers receivers being out.
Yeah, I just honestly picked him up in our league just because Justin TJ's now doubtful. I was like, damn, injuries.
Oh,
so
yeah, man. Well, I think we got the sleepers left, so I could round that out if you bring it home.
Sleepers.
Yeah, man. I have Derek Carr as a sleeper. Last time they played the Chiefs, like I mentioned, he put up 375. He only had 1 touchdown though, but they were at the 5-yard line multiple times. He could have had a 30-point game pretty close, pretty easily. Baker Mayfield I listed because it's like, oh god, that makes you roll your eyes, but he's cheap. It's a divisional matchup. You just never know what's going to happen. The Ravens haven't looked, I don't know. They're very hit or miss. A guy he was tearing it up before he got hurt, and I think he's back to full strength, is Kareem Hunt. Nobody talks about him. He's very low owned. It's another divisional matchup, but he's their pass catching back, and the guy's a stud. The other two are, take your pick of Hilliard or Foreman from the Texans running backs. It's kind of hard to pick which is which, but I think Hilliard probably has a higher ceiling. And then, of course, D-Jax I like as a receiver. Russell Gage, who seems to be coming on lately as well. And Josh Reynolds, kind of, he seems to be finding a place. He had that connection with Goff back in with the Rams. Now they're back together, and he seems to be put up decent numbers every week. And if he happens to catch a touchdown, then he pretty much makes your week. Those are all the sleepers I have. Of course, there's tons of them, but those are the ones I have for now.
So, a couple of guys I'm eyeing. Obviously, I mentioned Saquon Barkley. I'm seeing like 12%, as high as 12% ownership. So, he's definitely in play. And Chuba Hubbard, obviously, with Christian McCaffrey being out. So, he's in a really good matchup this week. Going against the Falcons, they have just been crushed by running backs all season. So, there's an opportunity that Cam could take some touchdowns away from him. But, yeah, play him in GPPs is a one-off for sure. Devonta Freeman versus Cleveland, he's definitely a sleeper. He's the workhorse back in that offense. A couple other guys. I'm a James Robinson truther. So, in the last few games, actually, Trevor Lawrence said that he's had a lack of usage and they need to figure it out. So I'm expecting him to get the ball more. He's coming in a low ownership this week, under 10%. And then Cordarrelle Patterson, he's had a resurgence. I mean, it's well documented this year, but he's still coming in low ownership. So in that game against Carolina, he's an option. I mentioned the Buffalo passing offense, Gabriel Davis, 5% ownership I'm seeing right now. High projected game. He has been getting targeted more recently. He's 3,500. And then the last guy, sleeper, I got Jalen Guyton for you. With Keenan Allen gone, Mike Williams gone, everyone's on Palmer. Well, maybe it's a Jalen Guyton week. He's 3,400.
Guy.
Yeah.
His deep throws.
Yeah. He's your ceiling play, your sleeper. 3,400. Doesn't take much to get there at that price.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Paul, you have a sleeper or two? Throw out there someone you think will.
Obviously Jared Cook has a tight end with with wide receivers being out, and then going with Taysom Hill again. Touchdown vulture, runs a lot. Really doesn't have to do a whole lot to put up points. Getting a QB at 5,600, pretty good deal. And then also, D-Jack. Like I said, just throw the man like two balls.
Yep, I'm hoping he has a good game.
Well, guys, I think that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Week 14. Appreciate you guys being quick about this. We did 2 shows, me and Eric, in like an hour and a half. So we were quick about it. Appreciate you joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I will also have your Milli Maker review on Fantasy Football Fling tomorrow, fantasyfootballfling.com. So if you like reading more on the podcast, check that out. Appreciate you all for joining us. Good luck this week, and we'll see you next week.
Heck yeah, let's make some money.
Win the Milli.